Welcome back to another episode of Solo Camino about my journeys. This time it's Voyagers in Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
I'm so close to Canada that I'm on the wrong side of the Minnesota welcomes you sign.
I crossed over to Canada and I started a 4-hour drive down the Trans-Canadian Highway to get to International Falls,
Hello,
Minnesota.
Canada.
Here I've officially left the U.S. and I'm going through Canadian customs.
Hello, Ontario, Canada.
Now I'm officially on the Trans-Canadian Highway. It was 4 hours of what you see on the screen right now. I did come across one town toward the end of it, and there were towns off of it, but they were 20, 30 miles away. There were 2 gas stations. One wasn't even a gas station. It was just a point with gas pumps. And it was 4 hours of simply driving through some beautiful Canadian area of the Canadian Shield, where the glaciers had carved out all the topsoil, and what was left was what's been created since the Ice Age, plus divots in the ground that collect the water that falls here from the rain. I didn't have any issue with wildfires because it was raining. And here's that gas point off to the left, not a store, just gas pumps out in the middle of nowhere with a sign and cars getting gas. I thought that was interesting. I did have 2 other exciting moments. One was when I saw him, the moose. Second moose I've ever seen in my life. I had to get a video of it, so I stopped, backed up, and got the video. The other thing I saw was 2 whipping cranes. Those stones you see are the Canadian Shield. I thought that was interesting. And 4 hours later, I'm at the bridge crossing over into the United States of America.
Hello, USA. There's the American flag.
This is a gigantic statue of Smokey the Bear in International Falls.
You never know what you're going to see driving down the road.
This is the hotel I stayed at in International Falls that evening. Really nice hotel. I love mom and pop hotels, single owner hotels. Really impressive hotel. I'd stay there again in a minute.
Ma'am, I just got to tell you, I rated y'all 5 stars. It's amazing. Y'all should be so proud of it. You too, take care.
And once again, there's a huge statue of a Voyager who the park is named for. French explorers. And this is Paul Bunyan and his big blue ox babe. Took me a while to get that right. This is where I had breakfast. It's called the library. It's really cool. The inside of it was designed to look like a library, but the food was really good. Nice ambience and a really good food. This is my biscuits and gravy with an egg on top. Very rarely do you get to say, people, when they say, oh, I like gravy so much it's a beverage. Here they served it in a soup bowl. It was really good. Very, very delicious. And down the road from International Falls is Voyagers National Park. I went to the Rainey Lake Visitor Center.
Hey! All right, and your name is?
Amanda.
Amanda and I had spent hours talking the day before at Isle Royal on the boat heading out to the island. That was neat seeing her the next day also, and her family. And speaking of boats, this is where the Voyager boat would be coming to pick me up on the tour that I purchased for the Isle, or the Voyagers, which was a boat tour. Before the boat tour, I took a little hike. I came across some raspberries. I thought, I'll try them, see if they're good. And they were. And the boat arrives for my tour of Voyagers National Park. Was going to do it all on Lake Rainey, and that was what basically my entire trip at Voyagers was going to be, because Voyagers is all about the water. And I don't have a canoe, and I wasn't going to spend 2 days canoeing. So this was the best option I could find to really explore what it was like. It was a nice experience sitting on the boat, seeing the lakes. You can see that tall tree. On the top of the tall tree there's an eagle nest, and there's a better shot of the eagle's nest. It was a little bit of a long tour. I think it was 3 hours, maybe 4. 3-hour tour. Yeah, they made that joke too on the boat. But the coolest thing I found was we actually went up to the boundary waters. So the green is Canada, and the red that you see, buoy, is the United States. So we're literally driving down the boundary between the 2 countries. I thought that was cool. As long as you come up to the boundary and you can cross it, but as long as you stay on the lake and you don't get off the land, you're okay. We headed back to the end of the tour.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's a good one.
That captain of the ship was a pretty fun guy. He enjoyed doing that with kids. I spent the night at the Douglas Lodge in Istaca State Park. And here you can see I'm about to cross the Mississippi River. And that is one of the shortest distances I've ever taken to cross the Mississippi River. Here, it's not pretty much more than just a creek. However, the shortest distance for me to ever cross the Mississippi River came up later. And this is the video that I took. This is in Istaca State Park. This is actually the headwaters of the Mississippi where it leaves a separate lake. And that point that I'm getting ready to cross is the beginning of the Mississippi River that runs from this point all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm amazed because in most of my life when I've seen the Mississippi, it's been this gigantic, almost mile wide or wider river. And here I can cross it without ever getting my feet wet. And if I got my feet wet, it wouldn't have gotten over halfway between my feet to my knees. And as you saw, it would have taken it. Here's the monument that's located there that tells you all about it.
Next stop after the headwaters of the Mississippi is Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Here we go, 8 hours from now.
But first I had to have rhubarb strawberry pie for breakfast. Yep, I did that. And then I had to stop and wait for 2 turkeys with their little babies, chicks, to run across the road in front of me. And then in North Dakota, I had to stop and see the world's largest buffalo. I thought that was really cool. And right off the interstate was Theodore Roosevelt National Park Visitor Center and a rest stop with all those semis. However, the overlook was absolutely stunning. I could not believe how beautiful the North Dakota Badlands are. It's worth having a national park. Eventually I did get to the actual entrance to the park where you could go into the park. And here I am going through the entrance. Based upon the time of day, I made the decision that I was just going to drive the park. I wasn't going to get out and hike it because there was a huge loop that went all the way around the southern aspect. Foreshadowing is what that sign refers to. These are the prairie dogs I saw. I thought they were adorable. This was the largest prairie dog colony I'd ever saw, or village I'd ever seen. They were everywhere, and these were the ones that were closest up near the road. Here you can see the size of this prairie dog village. Just massive, just absolutely massive. The loop around the park was about 30 miles. Took about 2 hours, maybe a little longer to drive it because you drove it so slowly, seeing everything and stopping. And these are the kind of things you stop for. I found a lone buffalo alongside the road. It didn't stop because he was so close, and I wanted to be able to make a fast getaway if he changed his mind from eating to charging. So I went up the road, turned around, came back. This is him again. He was in a mood. You could just tell by the sounds he was making. They don't come across on the video, but he was huffing and puffing. And here you can sort of get an impression of how excitable he was. I'm back out in a distance. He was fighting the ground. It wasn't rolling around, and then he started rolling around, but at first he was moving his head back and forth. Very interesting watching him. This was the best video I got of him. Again, it's with a zoom. The landscape in Badlands, North Dakota is absolutely stunning. This was another buffalo I came across. Again, another lone bull. I noticed at this point that they were all moving north, which was they were all moving upwind. So I'm guessing they were smelling either a herd of cows and they were all moving to the herd of cows, or they were smelling each other and the southern one was heading to the north. But you can tell he's not grazing. He's going somewhere. He has his mind made up and he's headed out. And then I saw another lone bull. When I first saw him, he was on the top of that butte. He ran all the way down before I could get my camera out and take a picture of him. and then he'd come over and he was heading down here. I did not know buffalo could go down a butte like that as fast as he did. I wish I could have got it on the camera. But again, lone bull headed north. I thought that was very interesting. From this video, you can see how far away he was, but also you can tell he hasn't stopped to eat. He's still moving north. I thought that was really interesting. It was also, I think, breeding season. And this is the last wildlife picture I got. I didn't put him eating the prairie dog in there, though I did get to see him jump up in the air and grab a prairie dog, but I didn't put the video in here. That's a coyote. It was really interesting to me to listen to the prairie dogs bark their warnings and to watch him respond to them. Then my route around the southern part of the park was complete, and it was time for me to head out toward the exit. And I was back on the interstate.
Well, I've turned the car east. Now I'm headed home. Well, back home RV. It's hard for me to realize the RV is home sometimes, but bye-bye Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Bye-bye. Really nice, beautiful park. Surprising, it really surprised me how nice it is. And now I turn the car late in the evening to head due east. Spend the night either in Bismarck or Fargo, North Dakota. Don't know which, how far I get tonight. And there's my view, saying bye-bye to the Badlands of North Dakota. Sunset's behind me. I got a long drive today and tomorrow, but I should get back tomorrow.
Alright, I added Isle Royal, Voyagers, and Teddy Roosevelt Badlands National Parks to my list. 1, 2, 3.